Good evening and welcome to my podcast. I'm Bob Pace, your host, and here we are to fight CPS and stop taking our children. Now, CPS is a government agency, it's a branch of social services. It deals with protecting our children from neglect and abuse and do family reunification if the family is broken apart through neglect or abuse. But lately, it seems like CPS has taken everybody, whether it is neglect or abuse, and they needlessly break apart a family. They did with my family, and that happened to me in 2015. The more I talk about CPS, the more I learn, and I wish I'd known everything I did 14 years ago when they started to harass me. CPS is a bad agency. It's very deceptive. If you don't believe me, look on the internet. Look up the Pink Ladies of Prescott, Arizona in 2022 that made T-shirts. They were social workers working in DCS, Department of Children's Services in Arizona, Prescott, Arizona. And they made a T-shirt, and the T-shirt on it proudly said, "Professional kidnappers." Kidnappers, and kid was broken away from the kidnappers, not normally spelled. And on the back of the shirt, it said, "Parents, do you know where your children are at?" And that was a slap in the face telling parents, we are taking your children. That's the attitude that most of the CPS have against us as parents. And I had a very bad case, and I lost a daughter in a home because of that. And I probably have lost a marriage too. But anyway, I want you all to realize that I'm here as a loving man, a husband, and of 6 children. And I care about you guys because you're going through the worst time of your life. I know what it was. I know what it is to fight CPS, to have your children trafficking, to have your children alienated, to have families turning each other. It's terrible. It's terrible the way CPS works. Now, I'm here to help you. I'm not an attorney, but I'm here to share my experiences and what I've learned from talking to over 500 people in all the 50 states and around the world. There are several ways to interact with this podcast. One way is to, let me see here, is to type in comments. Now, when you're typing in comments about your CPS questions, please show your name, your city, your state, or country, and be complete with your CPS case so I don't have to second guess you. So you just put your name, city, state, or country. And the countries so far that have contacted me are Australia, Canada, United Kingdom, Ghana in South America above Brazil, and then there's Mexico, and then Mozambique in Africa above South Africa below Somalia, and that's on the east side of Africa opposite Madagascar, the island of Madagascar, or the country of Madagascar. But they all had similar things that was happening to them in CPSs in the United States, so it was interesting to hear. I've also had a social worker come on to my show and talk for a good 40 minutes. It was great to finally have somebody that is supposedly a good social worker. She was very pleasant. She disagreed with the things I was saying, but she was polite. And she, as I say, she was with me 40 minutes. She said in her case that she was a clinical psychiatrist, gone through college, you got that. And plus, when she came to work for Maryland, she got additional 6 months more of training. Now, with that being said, the 6 months more of training is supposed, I guess, to make them professional kidnappers. I don't know. That thing in my mind, the image of those 8 ladies, 25 years of social work, they were fired on the spot. It's hard to get jobs, and they were fired because they wore it out in public. So the message is quite clear out there. They don't like parents. They especially don't like grandparents or other family members calling in. They don't like the parents. They don't like the seniors. They don't like the elders. They're anti whatever. All they're interested is the green dollar, the dollar bill. The federal government gives the state lots of money, and it's not being accounted by. There's lots of money being sent there. All I know is that for every child they have, they get $20,000 per month for that child with an open CPS case. That's a lot of money if you multiply it times 3 of my kids. My 6 children, 6 of them are grown up, so they were not affected. But the 3 younger ones had to go through hell. They had to go through foster care. Foster care is not nice. In fact, I don't think I have anything nice to say about CPS. They haven't done me any favors. They haven't done most of you any favors. It's heartache to hear mothers and you out there. It really is. Now, I know that we may not have a lot of people in here because of Memorial Day weekend. And by the way, I want to say happy Memorial Day weekend to all the veterans out there. Thank you for your service. Thank you for defending our country. And for ones that died, God bless you, because you made it so we have freedom in our country to do what we like to do. And so I hope you guys have a good Memorial Day weekend. Now, this morning I didn't really have many people because, again, I think they're either in transit or already at their place, and it's a time to celebrate or maybe visit their fathers or mothers that were killed in the wars that we had and so forth. Now, another way to react with this podcast is to call in to this show. And there's my number. Let me get my phone here. The phone is turned on. And you can call. It's my office phone at 698-0990. And that's my direct line. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. Anyway, you can call in to interact with this podcast, 626-698-0990. Now, a third way is to have my producer, Grace, set you up. Now, I'm on the podcast 7 days a week, twice a day. That's 14 shows that I'm on. All you have to do is say morning show or evening show. Now, I'm on at 10 o'clock in the morning for 1 hour, 7 o'clock at night for 1 hour. That's all Pacific Standard Time. On Sunday is the only exception that I come on at 8 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. But all the other days, I'm on those times, 10 in the morning and 7 o'clock at night. So all you do is pick a Tuesday show, morning or afternoon, Wednesday show or Sunday show. You just tell Grace in an email to her. And her email is grace@vincentwdavis.com. vincentwdavis.com. And you can schedule to be on there. Welcome, Danielle. I'm glad you for joining me. I was really lonely this morning. I didn't even have my producer on. Yeah. And so anyway, did
anybody join today?
No, it was pretty quiet because of the holiday weekend. And anyway, please schedule your time, and if you want to be on the show, and email it to grace@vincentwdavis.com. I first want to thank Grace, who works really hard behind the scenes, who makes it possible for my guests to be on the show. Thank you very much, Grace. Also want to thank Mr. Davis, who makes his podcast available. And he has a special going on, but that's only through him. You have to go to his podcast to get that special. You probably see it in the comment area, but that's not for any of my guests. That's only for him and his guests. So, with that being said, there, um, I oh, you can call him at 888-888-6582. That's his office phone. Make sure you tell the receptionist that I sent you, and then when you talk to Mr. Davis, say that I sent you. He wants to help you, and I'll talk more about Mr. Davis in a bit here. But yeah, he wants to help. He has his own podcast, and he's a dependency attorney, and he has been doing this for 35 plus years, and he's really good at fighting CPS and getting your kids back. But anyway,
Sorry.
please call into 888-888-6582. So I have my phone up, and right now I'm taking calls. You can text in messages. I'd love to hear your things there. I don't know if notifications are happening or not. Did you get a notify that I'm on, Danielle?
No, but let me check because I didn't get one, but I could have missed it though too. You know what I mean? I'm looking right now to see.
Yeah.
What it came out. Because I'm gonna tell Faye that you're on. Tell some of them. Let's see. No, I didn't get a notification. That's weird.
Yeah. Well, anyway, there seems to be a little glitch on Facebook with notifications. So if some of you get them late, I apologize. But did you get my message I sent to you, Danielle, this morning?
No. My phone service though, it's getting ready to go out. Because I guess the program's ending.
I hit both your numbers. So anyway, I text you and I call you, and I do both of them. I do them from my personal phone and then from my office phone.
Okay, so I didn't get one till 2:49 this afternoon. But I know you sent it way before that.
Why is the delay so late?
That's what I'm always wondering about mine, because it's been happening bad here lately. Like, it's horrible. Like, that's what, I mean, I don't know if it's got to be either my internet or my phone service, because one of those numbers is like a Google Voice number, and it's horrible. Like, at 2:49, so that was 49 minutes even after the podcast was over this morning.
Hey, can you show those pink ladies? I already talked about them, but
yes, I can. I'll be more than happy to. Let me get them. So
everybody can see them.
There you go. See if it comes up. There you go. Is it up?
Yes. Those are the pink ladies.
Let me block this. There you go. I don't know why my internet's acting up. It don't show me, does it, in the podcast? I mean, in the screen? I'm blocked out, right?
Let me see. No, it doesn't show you. Those are the 8 ladies. I know there's only 7, but one of them was cut off in the picture there. But I really am. I really am amazed that they would wear that in public. That's so crazy.
I'm amazed. I'm surprised that they would even act that way. Like, just that's like a child, or like a something that maybe like a kid would play a joke. You know what I mean? Like, not with that meaning, but that's like a kid game. Yeah. I mean, that's.
Yeah, this is the pink shirts, and some are facing backwards, some are facing forward to show you what. And see, for even the pose for this picture, they must be so stupid, because that isn't what it's all about. It isn't about kidnapping our children or taking our children. It's supposed to help out families in need. It even says that in the federal statutes, that the CPS, not only they're supposed to protect, but they're supposed to help out families in need. with all kinds of aid, maybe parenting classes, or maybe they do have some hiccups, but not destroy a family. They take families apart and break them up and destroy them so easy.
Mm-hmm. It's horrible.
And that really is. This
And
past week, we have something new that I'd like to share with all of you. It is something that a girl named Carol from Indiana, who's been helping
mm-hmm.
out people with all kinds of legal problems. And she says it's a requirement that the county that does the investigation must notify the state of your case with their number. And so you need to check at the state level. You need to get a hold of the civil rights coordinator or ombudsperson. And they're supposed to see if you have your case on. All you need is your case number. Call at the state level, the human resource, or the family. Each state's different. Look up social services, and maybe that is a start. But that's also where you can do the complaints in there. That's also where you can do the complaints. Because it's so terrible. I mean, Danielle's trying to get her son who turned 18, and he's a special need kid. He's stuck in Texas, and she's trying to get him back to be guardianship of him since he's over 18. She had to do some time, and she left her child with her mother, who temporarily was guardian of him. And then when her mother died, one of her sisters turned him over to the state. Did you ever find out why they turned him over to the state?
No. I've never. She won't talk to me. And what's crazy is I don't know if this is really my daughter that messaged me, but on TikTok, the person's playing like my daughter, but my daughter is saying some things, and it don't sound like my daughter. It sounds like someone playing games.
Aren't there some questions you can ask that person?
Yes, and that's what I did, and that's
you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's just
I hate to say it.
How
TikTok has a haven of people playing other identities.
But if they're using my daughter's identity, that's wrong.
Oh, they'll use sometimes a rock star or someone else's identity and pretend that they're them, and so you have to be really careful on the internet. You don't know what to believe.
Right. And it's getting way worse nowadays.
Right. I've talked about the ways to interact with this podcast. I've talked about what CPS is. Should I get into the rules? I don't see anybody.
I would because of especially like the whole the paperwork and the information, keeping up to date with it, staying persistent. That one definitely, because I've noticed and some more.
Let me start off with number one. And number one is the most important one. That's where you're going to get an attorney. You probably say, I can't afford an attorney. Well, there are ways to get an attorney without money. Now, the court-appointed attorney that's appointed in your case is not one of those ways. That man or woman that becomes your court-appointed attorney will not meet with you to the day of the hearing. And when they do, they just find a simple way to get the case over. So they're not going to fight for you or your issues. They don't represent you well in court. They're friends of the judge, friends of the social workers, attorneys, friends of the children's attorneys. Anyway, they're palsy-wowsy, and they do nothing. Everybody I've talked to that's had court appointed, whether they replace them 2, 5, 10, 30 times, they didn't work. And I tried them too. Yep. They did not work in my case. It was a waste of time. And it's very frustrating. Because a lot of you have to realize you can't talk in court unless you're representing yourself. So if you have an attorney, they have to talk for you. Well, if that attorney's bad news, can be really, really hard. Now, I do want to say some exciting news. Miss Harris was on her show yesterday, and she's from Arkansas, and she had a crooked CPS, a lot of crooked CPS in Arkansas. Anyway, she went for her hearing, and she was smart enough to have all the parenting classes, the program classes, all the stuff that they're accusing her of sent right to the judge.
Yeah, she didn't send nothing to defects.
When she showed up in court, the social workers say this person did not do this, did not do that, did not that. And the judge took one look at him and said, case is closed. Please return the child to the woman, because he knew
Yep.
that
That
they were lying. They
That's
were
awesome.
lying.
That's
So,
awesome.
it is hard. It is hard. This agency is so difficult. So that's why it leads me into why you need a bona fide professional dependency lawyer. You want a dependency lawyer that fights in dependency court. And it's a CPS one that can do that. And you want to find an attorney that has been done in a long time and so forth. And if money's your problem, you can find them. You're just going to have to phrase it in the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So when you search the internet, you want to say fine, and I'm going to use the state of Georgia as an example, but find in Athens and Atlanta, Georgia, a pro bono dependency attorney.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you should be able to get at least 10 names, hopefully.
Oh
If
yeah.
you only get
And
10,
you can get
use
some
those 10.
resources, like some
But
resource
if you get
website.
15, you're going to have to pick them. You're going to have to pick them because you don't want to deal with 10. And what you're going to do is you're going to call them up right away and see if they're in business, because if they don't answer the phone or it goes to a recording and you call back a second time, then they're not a good agency to check out, not a good attorney. So you call them, and then after they answer and they're talking to you, then you know, okay, they're good. The first question should ask them, are you pro bono? Meaning that, do you defend me at no cost? Are you pro bono? If the answer is yes, then that's one of the 10 people that you're looking for. The answer is no, then put them aside. Then the next question should ask, have they fought CPS? Have they fought Child Protection System? All right, and they should say yes. If they say yes, that's another good sign. Also, you should ask them, have they returned the children of clients? And the answer should be yes. Then that is good. That's another one that is what you want to find. What you're doing is you're filtering out these attorneys quickly, because you're going to have a consultation with 5 of them. So these questions and getting the answers are simple. They're just, another question to ask them is that, has the attorney ever fought CPS in a civil or federal court? Have they fought a civil case? The answer is yes. Then you know that office, that attorney, they're fighters, because it takes a real tough attorney to fight CPS and to get the children back. There's no question about that. So after you find out those things, then you want you go through the list and you say that's one of your 10. Now, I have an attorney I want you to call. I introduced him earlier. His name was Vincent Davis at 888-888-6582. He is a dependency attorney. He has many years, over 35 years of fighting CPS and getting the children back. He's a fighter, and he's done lawsuits against them and won both state and federal courts. So he is a well-rounded attorney. And right now, if you want to talk to him, you can call in at 888-888-6582. And for 60 minutes, he'll talk to you. For 30 minutes, he'll talk to you for $60. 30 minutes for $60. And that's well worth your time there. And he'll help you navigate and strategize how to fight CPS and get your children back. It's well worth the 30 minutes that you spend with him. So he should be one of the 5 people you do consultation with. The other 4 that you've picked from the list of 10, you need to call them and have a consultation. That means where you go and meet them. You try to meet with people, then try to do it over the phone. Now, if they're in Atlanta, it's a far drive from Athens, Georgia. Yes, I can understand that. But it's so important or so imperative that you nail down an attorney. Now, with Vince, he will fight in Southern California as his home base, but he'll fight in Northern California and any of the United States. He was at Oklahoma 2 weeks ago. So he charges the same rate, whether it's in Southern California, Northern California, or in the States for his lawyer services. The only thing he asks additionally when he goes to other states or Northern California is that he needs the per diem, which is the transportation expenses, airfare, rental, car rental, and then accommodations where they're staying there. That's the only thing he would tack on. And his fee is gauged on the complexity of your course or your case and how long the case has been going on. So he's well worth to talk to. And if the chemistry is right, hire him. You have nothing to lose. I did. I got my 2 sons back. And I tried to fight with public defenders. I tried to fight the CPS director. I tried to fight everything else. It was terrible. It was like, do you remember how you started off with your case?
I was well, they at first I didn't have an attorney, and when I found out, and then I didn't even know which way to turn, didn't know who to talk to, or I was worried about my son. I was trying to find him, and I actually contacted a criminal lawyer that was an attorney in my case from 2000, over the years since I've been on probation. And he led me in a direction, and which led me to a family lawyer, and she helps me out a lot. But they appointed me one at a month and a half after my son was in foster care at the disposition hearing, and I was trying to find an attorney, and they went ahead and I didn't ask for, and this attorney she railroaded me. Like, she didn't do. The first day I met her, she was great. I mean, I thought that everything was going great, and then next thing I know, 2 months later, no, she tried to play like it was communication, and she couldn't get in touch with me, and tried to play. Yeah. And I asked for a continuance, never got it. I mean, she was working against me straight, like all the way. Like they all were like, they never, told me anything about these meetings, nothing. Like, I had meetings, like the monthly meetings, my son, the ISP ones for his plan, like his growth, his progress. I haven't even been able to be in the ones. They lie to me. Oh, I'll get you the link. They never do. They never do. So I never get to do any, like, pretty much if I want to know something about my kid, I have to, it's him telling me, my son. Like, they have totally, the guardian ad litem don't even talk to me. But as far as a court appointed, I've the only part that I've had any luck with court appointed attorneys is on the criminal side in criminal court. They were great. They were awesome. But as far as family court, family law, no. Like, and what's crazy is the attorney that I had, she was this very wet. I thought, and you could ask, like, I thought she was a really good, like not good, like darn good. Like, I heard nothing but good things about her. Like, even when I was incarcerated, and I'm like, oh, awesome. I got somebody that's going to go for me, and that's going to help me get my son. No, boy, I have bad reviews. Bad. Like, it was nothing like I expect. Like, all this I heard. I even told my boyfriend, I was like, I said, that's awesome that I got her. You ought to hear the reviews everybody was saying about her. I've seen people that had her. She got there, and sure enough, not in my situation. Like,
well, that's why I tell everyone out there listening that dealing with CPS, since they're so bad, picture this. If you're going to get your heart worked on, you're going to get a professional doctor to do the surgery. You, as a layperson, are not going to open up your chest.
No.
You're not going to have your friend or family member open your chest. And you're certainly not going to use an auto mechanic, or someone that knows nothing about medical. You're going to get a professional doctor that's gone to medical school, that did an internship, and that has done a mentor with a doctor so they could be working on your heart. Well, CPS is like brain surgery. They're bad. They're not transparent. They will lie. They will take your children. They'll alienate your children. They will traffic your children. And it's all purely for money.
We have a visitor. We have Rosemary that joined us.
Oh, yeah. We've had her before, Lombardo. I think she's from Brooklyn, New York.
Yep. And she had her
I had a
permanency hearing.
hearing, and my attorney wanted to postpone it to how my visits moved alone. I was supposed to get unsupervised soon to see. Welcome, Rosemarie. I assume you're from Brooklyn, New York, and I think this past Wednesday you had a case, and so your attorney postponed the hearing, which is good because you don't want them to be permanent, and so you're getting see how my visits move along, and I'm supposed to get unsupervised soon, so that's good. To how my visits move along. So that means you got to be on your best behavior to do your visits, and I know you will. And I'm glad that the attorney is helping you, Rosemarie. And thank you for the input. And I really am and so happy on that. But going back to rule number 1, you need to get that attorney. Another way to look at it is CPS is like a spider with a web around you. They're going to pull you in. They're going to suck you dry. Also, if you know the story of Alice in Wonderland, Alice goes out in the garden and she falls in a rabbit hole. And what does she do? She ends up going to all these rooms that say weird things off with her head. And, weird looking things happen and stuff. She was lost. And that's what CPS is. CPS is like your Alice in Wonderland. You need a professional dependency attorney, someone that knows how to fight CPS. That is a fighter. That is so important. That is a fighter there. So that's rule number 1. Get yourself an attorney, because I didn't. My first year, I tried to fight CPS in Orange County, and I met with the director, and he took me to his building, and it was like the Taj Mahal of India. And it further looked like the Green Emerald City, the Wizard of Oz. It was so lavishing, and you could see where the money was spent. And then everything I said went in one ear, went out the other. I tried with the supervisors. I tried with the management team. For a year, I fought with emails and letters and stuff that they're violating my civil rights. They took my kids. They're in school. So how were they in imminent danger? That was such a stupid thing. My young son, I picked him up from school, and unbeknownst to me, CPS had contacted the police department. They got a detective that used a black and white car to pull me over and tricked me and said I had to come home. And like a fool, I didn't know the law. I should have said, well, give me a ticket or arrest me, but I'm not going home. I need to talk to my attorney. And so I didn't know all that, So I went home, and that's where the guillotine came in. They've been trying for 5 years to find something wrong with me. And what they came up with is neglect of my parents' belongings. I had moved my parents' belongings into my home only because they were selling their home and they are dying. My parents were dying. I was trying to help them, and I wanted to ship the belongings. So there were boxes and furniture stacked downstairs. They had a lot of mementos for 55 years. They've been married. And on top of that, their house was huge. It was a 4,000 square foot home. So I had a lot of stuff.
Wow. Oh, yeah.
So anyway, they said that because of the boxes, the stacked furniture, they could endanger the kids. And I don't see that possible because the kids were taller than the boxes of the furniture. And if I last checked, I don't think furniture walks upstairs, and I don't think boxes fly.
Right.
And kids' bedrooms are to their own, and they're clean and respectable, and they could sleep. They had their own bathrooms. So I don't know about this thing called extreme danger from boxes and furniture attacking my kids.
And it's not like the stuff was in their rooms. Like it wasn't.
No, it was not in their rooms. That's what was so
crazy.
funny. It was not intimate danger. And,
Right.
They definitely took my kids, put them into shelter, a foster shelter, that first night. And then my poor kids, their play area at the shelter was right at the juvenile fence, so the juveniles could talk to the kids. And on top of that, the food was terrible. There was a beehive that the bees were attacking the kids, and my kids didn't sleep much. And their idea of schooling for the next couple of days was have a person read a book to them. and all three of my kids were in STEM classes, and they were all doing very well in school. And this hurt them. This hurt them so bad. I don't know. They just, they didn't need to break my family apart.
Right.
My
I
family
mean,
was together. And so my wife and I were so distressed because I'm trying to find a job. I have mortgage I have to pay. I'm trying to keep my house. And I said, well, I got to get some money. I'm going to sell my house. So I quick sold my house, took a big hit on it, and paid off the mortgages and left me very little money to pay the attorney. But I was desperate. I was desperate. So I'm telling you out there, they will take your children. And that is going to lead me. I'm going to skip number 2 for a bit. I'm going to go to rule number 3, which is where you want to say no to both the CPS and to the police because they'll be intimidating you. Do not open your door. And I like to bring out that picture of the young man 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago that opened a door and he's dead now. He's 24-year-old black airman from Gainesville, Florida. And he's on the phone called Watch Time, or what's it called? The video phone conference. Watch Me or FaceTime. He's on FaceTime. Yeah. And this young man, as you can see him, his military was serving our country. And he was alone in his apartment. There was some type of commotion going on that the police received a call on. They came to the apartment complex because it was gated. They had to have the landlady open up areas so they could get to it. And they thought it was at that address. I think they got the wrong address. And on
they
top
said it was
of that,
a domestic dispute. They were checking on
domestic. They thought it was domestic disputes, but there was no one in his apartment except him.
Right. Exactly.
And so, the way they handled it was awful. You would think these policemen had gone to some training, but they didn't. What had happened is that he knocks on the door, standing in front of the door, thump, 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 says nothing. Well, he's stupid because if someone was on the other side of the door, they would have fired guns through the door and killed the sheriff. The sheriff should be to the side of the door jamb. And when he knocks on the door a second time, he did say, "This is the sheriff, open up," but it was not in a very constructive fashion. He should have said, "This is the sheriff. If you're in front of this door or behind this door, please unlock the door. And if you have a weapon, lay it down. And then I want you to lay down yourself and put your hands behind your head." That way, when the sheriff opens the door, he can peer in and assess the situation, and he could cuff the man and push the weapon away. Now, this man did have a weapon. It was at his side. But instead of the sheriff doing all that, the guy opens the door, and right away, the sheriff point blanks, fires 5 times, killing the man. He was bleeding all over the place. His girlfriend was seeing this on the video phone conference. It was the worst thing you can imagine. The girlfriend is losing her potential husband, and the mother of the boy has lost a very special son. He was a high school graduate. He wanted to serve his country. He joined his country, and the sheriff in Gainesville, Florida, fired and killed him. Now, they have body cam video. They have the FaceTime video thing, and it shows how he was dying on the phone to his girlfriend. You don't think how traumatic that is? His girlfriend in her early 20s, somebody that she was interested romantically, is dying on the phone. And then the body cam of the sheriff showed everything, how he just point blank. It did show the 24-year-old man with a gun at his side, but it was not pointing at the sheriff. And the sheriff could have just taken the gun and shot his foot, his hand. He could have disabled the person, not kill him. It seems typical. Most entries by police or sheriffs, they end up killing the person. There was a woman not killed too long ago in Illinois that was mistaken the wrong house. She was a nurse, and she was killed point blank. It's sad. It has happened a lot. It really has a lot, I think, there. And this guy won't be able, to serve. I mean, it's sad. This guy is just a 24-year-old kid. And we don't know if race had anything to do with it. We don't know if the sheriff was white or black, whether he was scared to death. But why? Why would you shoot somebody? It's sad. So I want you to think about that. If you have a door, it should be locked. And you should not allow people inside that door, even if they knock or ring the doorbell, because you don't know who they are. And if the police or CPS, you definitely don't want them in your house, because they'll take your children or they'll look through your house. They have a bad habit going through underwear drawers. I don't know why they do that. But, you're not allowed to be in the home. It's your castle. And as part of your civil rights, you have a right not to let them in. And they need what's called a warrant. Mm-hmm. And a warrant is a paper ordered by the court, signed by the judge, that specifically tells who the warrant is to, what the children are, what the allegations are, and the address of where they're supposed to investigate, and the time they're supposed to investigate, the date and time, and what they're supposed to do when they do the investigate. All that's supposed to be on that warrant, and it's got to be signed and embossed. That means a stamp that embosses a label. It's got to look legit. Too many times they make copies of other people's warrants and they pass it off. So you got to make sure. Now, if you're outside and they have a warrant, you can look at it and make sure it's checked out. But you can also tell them that you have an attorney and need to talk to them. Get their cards. They all should have cards. If they don't have a card, get the badge number of the policeman, look at the ID badge of the social worker, and get the name and so forth. But you need that information. So Rosemary said, CPS has come to my home multiple times and said there is no safety issues. So I know that they're wrong for still holding my daughter. Yeah, that's true. Wow. Yeah, no safety issues. Well, they're not looking at your home safety. You want to see if, something could really harm the child. You're right. They also want to check to see if there's food in the refrigerator. Want to make sure that the house is clean and so forth. So you don't let them in the house unless they have a warrant. Furthermore, if they come in, you don't give up your children. If they ask to take your children, and there's no imminent danger, you don't need to. They need a warrant to take the children. On the court paper, it's got to see, we are taking the children because of such and such a reason. So a warrant isn't a blanket all to do anything illegally. So I'm telling you all that you got to fight there. So that pretty much concludes number 3. But the other thing I want to mention about is medical trafficking. Mm-hmm. Medical trafficking. Yeah, autism, that's a good message there. There is no CPS handbook for children, for parents.
Right.
There's no handbook for dating relationships or anything like that. So, anyway, another part of them coming into your home, is really that. But the other thing is, don't talk to them. They're going to trick you. Do not talk to them or give them the time of day. If you're worried and you don't understand what to do, just say, hey, look, I need to talk to my attorney. I'll get back to you. Give me your name. Give me your business card. Make sure that they do. If they don't, then get the badge number of the officer, policeman, and the social worker's ID so you get the information. It's really important because they will lie. They will lie. And I'm telling you that you got to be careful. Now, besides saying no, you don't want to say things they'll use against you. I'm very talkative, and first I thought, oh wow, I can talk to them. I have nothing to hide. I'm not guilty of anything. Well, it seems like when you do that, they take advantage of your kindness and they take away your children. My children were kept for 3 years, and it was
Wow.
stupid. It was stupid. And on top of that, the visitations got worse and worse. They build you up and they tear you down. My
Hmm.
visitation started without monitoring visitations. Then it became worse and worse when they started to have monitoring. Then they had a facility you had to go to with further monitoring. And it was like they'd sit at the table when you're playing with your kids, so you couldn't really interact with them or talk to
Yeah.
them.
Can't talk
And
to them.
so,
Can't. And
yeah, I know.
it's not
And I'd
fair.
bring food with them to feed them and try my best to take care of them and stuff. And
I mean, it's
it was
hard.
hard. It was hard.
We didn't get to talk to them. Like, and what if there's something that they want to talk about that they don't want to talk to somebody else to hear? I mean, I think I think that's just uncalled for to be that. I mean, that's kind of like being in a prison and visiting your family, that a family member that's incarcerated in a prison. Like, you can go there and see them in person, but they don't even stand over you like that in there. And you're visiting in person and you get to sit at the same table with them, but you don't have somebody standing over you. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's guards walking around, but they don't but in your business right there. I mean, and I don't think that they should be allowed to do that with kids as well when you're on visits. I mean, they're already having enough troubled times by being where they're at. Don't make it harder. Don't make it rougher for them. I mean, but they don't care.
Yeah, yeah.
And it
Um,
sucks.
so anyway, medical trafficking is the latter part of this that I want to talk about. And you say, what medical trafficking? Well, apparently there's two scenarios. One, in the middle of the night, your child is very sick, so you rush to urgent care at the hospital, the emergency room, and there's now have social workers for CPS working at the hospital. And let's say you discuss with a doctor and you don't like what he wants to do, and you say, I want a second opinion, um, or you want to have the child see their pediatrician. That's your right. That's your medical right. You're allowed to make decisions like that. You're not trying to not give them medical aid. You brought them to emergency. That shows you are. But what happens is the social worker hears that and right away takes your child away saying, you're not taking care of them. You're going against the doctor's orders. And they're doing that. They're doing that. And furthermore, the other scenario is you're a mother giving a birth to a baby, and in walks the
Mm,
social worker with a policeman who tries to take your child that was just born, that hasn't even been
that's
breastfed.
horrible.
And
That's
again, you need to tell those people to wait out in the lobby. They need a court order. They shouldn't be in your room. You need to tell the doctor, the nurses, the manager, where it is. They don't need to be in your room.
They don't
Your
need to be
birthing room is for you and your family members and the
right.
hospital staff. It isn't
Right.
for two strangers that, that is so harmful to the child. It's been said that the best parents are the biological parents,
That's right.
not
That's right.
CPS, adopted parents, or other parents. The best parents are the biological parents. So it's really important to keep that in mind. Um, um, so those are the two scenarios of medical trafficking. And so we've talked about rule 1 and rule 3, and now I'll talk about rule number 2, which is the paperwork, which is important. I did not keep track of my paperwork, and I could remember things a year later or something when I hired an attorney. So I'm telling you this, you should get a 6-inch 3-ring binder, and in it you should stuff in college rule notebook paper. And you put the college rule notebook paper into the 3-ring binder, and then you get some subject tabs, and you set different subjects in your 3-ring boner. One of the subjects is the incidents that have happened in your case, whether with the police or the CPS, anything related to your children being taken should be listed in there. And you just start off with the date and the time and the people that are involved in the incident, such as the social worker, the children, the parents, the police, whatever. Then you should describe the incident, what the incident was. They came to your home, they took your child, you went to their office. You describe the incident, and then you want to describe the outcome. And if you don't know the outcome, you may have to put in later when you do know the outcome. But you take a couple lines with the outcome. Then after that, you skip a couple lines, you do the next incident, you skip a couple lines, do the next incident. This should be all your incidents arranged by date, so that way you have a timeline and something you refer to. And use a highlighter. A pink or a yellow one are good that highlight different things you're looking for. Orange is a good one too. Orange is a good one too.
Mm-hmm.
And so you use these highlighters and you mark certain things you want to come back later. Also, to help you with your fighting your case, whether you're fighting it by yourself or with your attorney. It's so important. Other things you can put in that binder is a section on uh, program completions. You have your parenting classes, you have your anger management classes, you have your drug, results, you have a therapy. You put all that in that subdivider, and you can punch holes in paperwork you receive because you want to keep track of all the paperwork. And you arrange it again by the date. Arrange it by the date. The oldest date going first and so forth. But it's really important that you have that. Another subdivider, something related to info. That be like websites, people you've talked to, agencies, foster care, things like that. You have all the numbers, all the websites placed in that third subject. And then you have a lot more subjects you can do it yourself. It's supposed to work for you. It's supposed to help you make your life easier with the paperwork. And then the court documents that you get, whether they're mailed to you or pick them up at court, you need to punch holes in them and put them in another divider so you have all the documents. And that way you can refer to them. Again, range them by date, the hearings, and so forth. And so there's a lot you can do with that notebook, but it'd be there for your case, and you need to have it. You really do. So those are the 3 rules. I've talked about finding an attorney. I've talked about how to do your paperwork, and I've talked about how to say no to social service and the police, and how to avoid your children being taken, or home invasion, or giving a child birth and having the child take away, and so forth. So those are important rules that I've made over these last 10 months that should help you. Now, we have some other matters too. We talked briefly about how we had a guest on the show that talked about how to see if your case is filed with the state level and how important that is. Some other things are like the 388 petition. That is a motion to show new things to the court to have a hearing within 30 days. It may not be called a 388 in other states. In California it is, Maine it is, a 388 petition, but it's a motion to change things or new evidence. That's what you describe it when you look in your state there. Also, you'll find out that the internet is the power to fight CPS and win. The more knowledge you have, the better off you are. If I knew what I knew now, I think Danielle will agree with me, we would have done things a lot differently.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I would have done it way differently.
Can you explain the ICPC, what that is?
The ICPC is where you're dealing with 2 jurisdictions, and that they send the sending state is where the CPS case first started, which would be, like in my case, would be Georgia, and they sent my son to Texas. Well, now Texas is having to deal with him, so because they're housing him, and he's technically a resident of their state. So ICPC is where it's interstate. It means 2 or more. So I'm dealing with 2 jurisdictions, and the one in Georgia and Texas are corresponding with each other about the care of my son, and ICPC is supposed to be the one that gets my son there safely and oversees the process of transporting him and over the state lines from Georgia to Texas. And it's a long process, and it's very time consuming. It's very exhausting. It's a lot. And they are the ones that handle the whole transport and the transferring from here to here. Just like kind of like they would I hate to say it, which I was transported from Florida to Georgia when I got locked up. But yeah, that's where it's pretty much this, making sure that your child is safe and everything is safe and secure and done right and running smoothly. And they are overseeing that part of it. And it's not nothing. It's not no fun having to deal with two jurisdictions. They make sure that the home study's done to make sure, because they have to, like the receiving state, the state that like Texas has to approve now for my son to come back to Georgia. And so ICPC can actually be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. It's good that they oversee it and runs for it to run smoothly, but it's bad when the other state gets to say when he's never even been involved with that state. So ICPC, they oversee the whole jurisdiction. I mean, the whole 2-state thing, because you're crossing state lines with it. Georgia's responsibility and going somewhere else. So somebody's got to get them there safely, and so, but they paperwork wise and everything, they're the ones that get it transferred, like everything pretty much making sure the process runs smoothly.
Yeah
That's and yeah, because when you say interstate, that means 2 or more. So
right
yeah. So and
okay.
I don't agree with them having say of him coming back. That's where I don't, if he's been in Georgia and never left Georgia, I don't think Texas should have any say at all. I mean, that's,
well, he's also 18, so I think he deals with a
right.
different part of social.
Yeah, and that's where I think the big mess is coming up right now, like the big confusion. And I'm like, but they're trying to be slick, and it's not gonna work. No.
Yeah,
that's all it is. I mean, I've got I can get a good attorney now, so I'm finally able to push it now and be more aggressive than what I was, so I got the backup. Because I got the stability with an attorney. Like going pro se, it can be rough in certain situations, but when you're dealing with 2 jurisdictions, it's like, and that was where I didn't know that was gonna happen. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
Well, we got about 3 minutes left. It looks like the advertising Vincent Davis special. If you go to his room, there's a special he's running, but it has nothing to do with the fees in my room. So anyway, that was run again there. I want to thank Rosemarie from Brooklyn, New York, for coming in tonight to join us. Thank you for the good news. It apparently is working out there. If I have people come back and say this worked or that worked, I really appreciate you guys doing that. A lot of you have. We've had some interesting people on the podcast. A couple of days ago, we were talking about rape and incest and molestation. And that's something that's overlooked with children and also women, how they're treated, and parents and parenting skills and things like that. We're lacking so many skills to take care of our kids. So why did that come there? I did that. Anyway, I'm going to remove the phone call because it's a little late to take a phone call now. So I'll be, well, why did that come on there? Damn it. Wow.
Are you clicking it?
No, I don't know where it's coming from. Hold on. Sometimes someone is, well, I don't know why that is in there. Let me see. How can I get out of it? Well, let me put my phone number back in. I'll hide it.
There you go.
Oh, who just did that?
I think somebody might.
Grace, are you Grace?
Somebody's playing.
Someone is playing with me. Vincent Davis is. So
that's
I know about your message, Vincent. It's not for me, it's for you. So Oh, brother. I just don't understand. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Yay. We got rid of it. Anyway, I want to thank you all for listening. It's time to go off. I think Grace is telling me to turn off. So, with that being said, God bless all you and thank you. And I'll see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time. It's 8 a.m. 8 a.m.
tomorrow. 8
And so I'll see
Sunday.
you all tomorrow, except I won't see Grace tomorrow because she's off on Sundays. Lucky girl. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'll let it be. I'll let it be. Anyway, Grace is so. With that further said, Grace has already left. She said, "Geez," and so she's going. It's her personality. I just don't know it. Anyway, I'm signing off. Bob and Danielle, thank you. God bless you, and keep fighting for your kids. And I'll see you tomorrow morning. Good night.